Imagine the world of Heartland shaken to its core. A moment fans never thought they would see again suddenly becomes real. Borden, the man whose absence left an unfillable void, steps back into the lives of Amy, Lyndy, and the entire Bartlett-Fleming family. It's not just a return, it's a rebirth of hope, love, and memories that seemed lost forever. This isn't just another storyline, it's the most emotional chapter yet, where every look, every word, and every tear carries the weight of years gone by. The news of Ty's return spreads like wildfire across Heartland. But the most powerful moment is not in the whispers or the shock, it's in the silence that follows when Amy finally sees him. For years, she carried the burden of his absence, raising Lyndy with strength she never thought she had. And now, standing before her, is the man she once thought she lost forever. Ty's return is not wrapped in grand speeches or loud reunions. Instead, it begins with something small, something simple, a quiet presence, a soft smile, the kind of glance that says more than words ever could. For Amy, it feels as if time stands still. The ridge around her, once a place of healing but also of lingering sorrow, suddenly transforms into a place of second chances. Her mind races between disbelief and joy. Can this really be happening? Is this just a dream she has held onto for too long? But when Ty reaches out, steady and warm, the truth becomes undeniable. He is here. He is real. And he is ready to take back his place beside her and their daughter. Lyndy's reaction is perhaps the most heart-shattering of all. She has grown up with stories of her father, little pieces of him stitched together by Amy, Jack, and the rest of the family, but no story, no photograph could ever prepare her for the moment when Ty kneels down to her level. The look in her eyes, innocent wonder mixed with the kind of love only a child can give, brings everyone watching to tears. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't question. She simply runs into his arms, as if some part of her always knew he would come back. And in that embrace, Ty becomes more than just a memory. He becomes her father in every sense. Alive and present, Jack, watching from the distance, feels emotions he rarely lets show. He has always been the family's rock, but even the strongest men carry scars. Ty's absence left a mark on him too, though he would never admit it. Seeing Ty return fills him with both relief and caution. He knows life is fragile, that second chances don't come often. Yet as he watches Amy and Lyndy wrap themselves around Ty, Jack feels the old warmth return to his heart. It's as if the ranch itself exhales, welcoming back one of its own. But Ty's return is not without questions. Where has he been? What has kept him away? These mysteries linger. But in this first moment, they don't matter. What matters is the reunion, the beating hearts, the flowing tears, the sound of laughter echoing through Heartland again. It is the kind of moment that reminds everyone why family is the unbreakable core of this story. Because no matter how far someone drifts, no matter how much time passes, love always finds its way back home. Amy Fleming has always been the heart of Heartland. From the moment she was a young girl learning how to heal horses to the woman who stood strong in the face of tragedy, Amy has carried the weight of both her family's legacy and her own broken dreams. Ty's absence was not just the loss of a partner, it was the loss of her closest friend, her confidant, and the father of her child. In those years, Amy became something she never asked to be but had no choice but to embrace. Uncheckable, she smiled when she wanted to cry, worked when her body was tired, and raised Lyndy with enough love for two parents. But Ty's sudden return shakes that balance in ways Amy never expected. For so long, she had learned to live without him. She found strength in Jack's guidance, comfort in Lou's support, and motivation in Lyndy's laughter. She built a new rhythm, one where the pain became part of her strength. Yet, when she sees Ty standing there again, that carefully built world begins to crack. It's not because she isn't strong anymore, it's because the piece of her heart she buried has suddenly come back to life. At first, Amy doesn't know how to react. Part of her wants to run into his arms and never let go. another part of her wants to resist to protect herself from the risk of losing him again. She remembers the sleepless nights, the endless tears she shed when she thought she'd never see him again. She remembers telling herself that she had to move forward, not backward, and yet her soul has been waiting for this moment. When Ty whispers her name, it feels like no time has passed at all. The years apart vanish in a heartbeat. The emotional storm inside Amy grows stronger as she watches Ty with Lyndy. Every smile they share, every laugh that lights up her daughter's face reminds Amy of the life they were supposed to have together. She thought she had come to peace with that dream being gone, but seeing it alive again fills her with both hope and fear. She can't help but wonder, is this real? Is this lasting, or will she be left shattered again? Amy's journey in this moment is not about weakness, it is about learning to open her heart once more. She has spent years being cautious, keeping her emotions guarded. But love is not meant to be safe, it is meant to be brave. Slowly, she begins to let herself feel everything again. She looks into Ty's eyes and remembers the boy she once healed, the man who stood beside her through countless challenges, the father who always wanted the best for their child. In that gaze, she realizes that her strength does not come from hiding her pain. It comes from facing it, from allowing herself to love again even when it scares her. What makes Amy's journey so powerful is the contrast between who she was and who she is now. She is no longer the young woman leaning on Ty for support. She is a mother, a leader, and a pillar of the ranch. His return doesn't erase her growth. Instead, it challenges her to find a new balance between independence and partnership. She has to learn how to let Ty back in without losing the strength she built on her own. The ranch itself seems to reflect Amy's emotions. The horses, who have always been mirrors of her heart, sense the shift in her spirit. Where there was once quiet endurance, now there is renewed energy, a spark of something brighter. Working with them, Amy feels the connection between healing horses and healing people. It's about patience, trust, and the willingness to believe in second chances. Amy's story in this chapter is not just about love, it is about courage. The courage to forgive, the courage to risk heartbreak again, and the courage to accept that sometimes life gives back what it once took away. Her journey reminds us that strength is not about shutting the door on pain, but about keeping the door open for love. No matter how uncertain it may be. In the end, Amy chooses not to live in fear of the past, but in hope of the future. She takes Ty's hand, not as the woman she once was, but as the woman she has become, stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace this second chance at love. And in that choice, Amy Fleming proves once again why she is the heart of Heartland. For a child, the world is made of stories. And for Lyndy, every story she ever heard about her father felt like a fairy tale. Amy told her about the way Ty laughed when he worked with horses, about the courage he showed when facing danger, and about the love that burned bright enough to carry a family through storms. Jack added his own pieces, quiet tales told by the fireplace, about Ty's determination and loyalty. Lou spoke about his kindness, his patience, the way he never gave up on family. Georgie would share little memories of the big brother figure he once was to her. To Lyndy, Ty Borden was not just a man, he was a hero stitched together from the threads of memory and love. But no story could prepare Lyndy for the day her father returned. At first, she doesn't even understand what's happening. She sees Amy's face go pale, sees Jack's eyes soften in a way she's never noticed before. And then she sees him. A man who looks like the pictures she's seen, but real, standing there, breathing, watching her with eyes that seem to hold the whole world. For a heartbeat, the silence is too heavy. She is young, but even at her age, she understands the weight of that moment. Then instinct takes over. Lyndy doesn't hesitate, she runs. Her small footsteps pound against the ground as if her heart is leading her faster than her body can keep up. When Ty bends down and opens his arms, the world makes sense in a way it never has before. She collides with him, laughter and tears mixing together. And in that moment, she doesn't see a stranger, she sees her father. A father she has waited for without even knowing she was waiting. The bond between Lyndy and Ty grows almost instantly. It's as if something deep inside her recognizes him, like a piece of her soul has finally been returned. She talks to him with a confidence she never shows anyone else. She asks him questions about horses, about life, about himself, and every answer he gives feels like a missing puzzle piece falling into place. For Amy, watching this is overwhelming. She sees the love in her daughter's eyes, the joy in her smile, and it's both beautiful and heartbreaking. Lyndy's perspective is unique because it's pure. She doesn't carry the same scars as Amy. She didn't endure the nights of grief, the battles with loneliness, the constant need to be strong. She only knows that her father is here now. And that's enough. Children don't demand explanations the way adults do. For Lyndy, love is simple. If you're here, you're loved. If you stay, you're home. Her innocence brings healing to the entire family. Jack softens when he sees her sitting on Ty's shoulders, giggling as if the past never happened. Lou feels her heart swell when she watches Lyndy proudly show her father the drawings she made of horses and the ranch. Even Tim, who often keeps his emotions buried beneath layers of pride and stubbornness, feels a lump in his throat when he hears her call Ty Daddy for the first time. Through Lyndy, the family sees what truly matters. She doesn't care about the time lost or the reasons behind it. She cares about the love she feels right now, in this moment. Her perspective reminds everyone that healing doesn't always have to be complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as opening your arms and letting love in. Lyndy also begins to dream differently with her father's return. Before, her world was filled with what-ifs and second-hand stories. Now she imagines riding beside him, learning from him, and sharing adventures. The ranch, which was once just home, becomes a place of magic with him there. Every corner feels alive. Every field feels wider, because now she has both her parents to share it with. What makes Lyndy's role so powerful is the way she acts as a bridge between the past and the future. For Amy, Ty's return is tangled with pain and fear. For Jack, it is mixed with caution and wisdom. But for Lyndy, it is simple joy, and that joy spreads like fire. It doesn't erase the struggles, but it gives everyone the strength to move forward. Because if a child can forgive, can believe, and can love without hesitation, then maybe the adults can too. Lyndy's perspective teaches the family and the audience that sometimes the purest love comes from the youngest hearts. She is the reason everyone believes that this second chance is not just possible, but worth fighting for. And as she holds her father's hand, looking up with eyes full of wonder, she becomes the symbol of everything Heartland has always stood for: hope, family, and the unshakable power of love. For as long as anyone can remember, Jack Bartlett has been the pillar of Heartland. Strong as the land he works, stubborn as the old ranch walls, yet tender in ways he rarely lets others see. He has been the protector, the guide, and the glue that held the family together through heartbreak, change, and loss. But even the strongest hearts carry cracks, and Ty Borden's absence left one in Jack that never truly healed. When Ty first came into Jack's life, he wasn't sure what to think of him. A troubled kid with a rough past, Ty had walls as tall as the Rockies, but Jack saw through them. He recognized the boy's hunger for belonging, the deep desire to do better, and he gave him a chance when few others would have. Over the years, Ty became more than just a ranch hand, more than just Amy's partner. He became family. For Jack, who had already buried too many people he loved, Ty was like a son. Losing him felt like losing a part of himself all over again. So when Ty walks back into Heartland, Jack's emotions are not as simple as joy. Beneath his relief lies caution. He knows the price of hope. He knows how fragile life can be, how quickly someone can be taken away. His eyes betray the storm he keeps inside. Happiness at seeing Ty alive, fear of watching Amy and Lyndy open their hearts only to risk being hurt again. Jack has always been the protector, and even in this moment of reunion, that instinct does not let him rest. The first time Jack speaks to Ty after his return is not with celebration, but with silence. He stands a few feet away, hat in hand, weathered face unreadable. Ty approaches, hesitant, almost like the young man he once was, unsure if he's earned Jack's trust again. For a moment, time folds back, and it's as though they are standing in the exact spot where Jack first gave Ty a second chance years ago. Finally, Jack's voice breaks the quiet, steady, low, filled with weight. Took you long enough? It's not anger, not bitterness, just a simple truth layered with emotion only Ty can understand. This is Jack's way. He doesn't need to say much because every word carries years of meaning. In that single line, Ty hears it all: the disappointment, the longing, the relief, and, most of all, the love. Jack's arms may not open as quickly as Amy's or Lyndy's, but when he finally pulls Ty into an embrace, it is strong enough to crush the distance of every lost year. For Jack, Ty's return also means revisiting his role as the family's anchor. He must be both welcoming and wary, hopeful but realistic. He takes Amy aside, reminding her that while joy is worth embracing, hearts must also be protected. He reminds Lyndy through his gentle actions that family is not just about being present, it's about showing up, day after day, no matter what. Jack's wisdom is often delivered in small, quiet ways. A word of advice by the barn, a hand on, a shoulder, a steady gaze that speaks volumes. But Jack also carries his own private emotions. Late at night, when the ranch is quiet, he allows himself the luxury of feeling what he hides from the others. He sits by the fire, stares into the flames, and lets himself remember every moment he shared with Ty, the arguments, the laughter, the lessons taught and learned. He knows that life has given them an impossible gift, a second chance. And with that gift comes a responsibility. He is determined not to waste it. The horses on the ranch seem to sense Jack's emotions too. They respond to his calm but heavy presence, as though they recognize the silent battle within him. For Jack, working with them is therapy. He speaks to them without words, letting his hands and patience convey what his voice cannot. And as Ty begins to step back into his role at the ranch, Jack sees the old rhythm slowly returning, not just in the work, but in the heartbeat of the family. Jack's emotional core is what steadies everyone else. He doesn't shout his feelings, he doesn't display them openly, but his love runs deeper than anyone can measure. Ty's return reminds him that even the most broken bonds can be repaired, that even when life takes away, it sometimes gives back, yet he also knows that nothing is guaranteed. This knowledge makes him cherish each moment more, even as he hides that tenderness beneath his gruff exterior. In the end, Jack's perspective is not about blind joy or fear, it's about balance. He chooses to believe in Ty's return, but with the wisdom of a man who has seen too much loss to take anything for granted. He knows the family will look to him when doubts creep in, and he is ready to carry that weight. For Jack Bartlett, love has always been about action, not words. And as he watches Amy, Lyndy, and Ty begin to stitch their lives back together, Jack silently promises himself one thing. This time, he will do everything in his power to keep his family whole.